The dark truth about dating ugly girls. Listen, gentlemen, what I'm about to tell you might make you uncomfortable and throw you off the entire red pill, but I urge you to keep a level head and listen to today's topic with deliberation and patience. I want to talk about dating ugly girls. I know it's politically incorrect and kinda grates on people's sensibilities to talk about women in this way, but I just feel I have the duty to help you steer clear of making catastrophic mistakes that negatively impact your life. Here's the deal. I received an email from a regular viewer of this channel. He was in his early 20s and had never interacted with women romantically in his life up to that point. The advice he wanted was this. Since he was completely new to dating and relationships, he thought if he gave ugly women a chance, they would love him, cherish him, and value him above everything else. He thought they would be grateful that he was dating them, and perhaps be extra nice to him than all the pretty and snotty girls he otherwise had the option of approaching. Paradoxically, no, and I'll explain to you why. You need to understand that women are terrible judges of their own place in the social hierarchy of attractiveness, and very good judges of a man's SMV value, even subconsciously. So when you date a woman that is perhaps conventionally unattractive to most men, you are mistaken to think there will be much of a change in her general behavior towards you simply because of that reason. Right off the bat, this needs to be made abundantly clear. Even girls that are not physically attractive have access to the free infinite validation on social media. They still have Instagrams and a myriad of different beauty modes and filters that delude them into thinking of themselves as some sort of a catch. There is no woman on the planet remaining that is free from the social validations from simps that are artificially magnifying her attractiveness in her eyes. Girls as soon as 13 to 14 develop an addiction to the high they get with every like, comment, and follow they receive on social media. It becomes a metric of their worth for them, unless they are very secure individuals in themselves, which in most women rarely are. This is precisely why I say simps make the game harder for all men around the world, but that's a deeper topic for another video. And while you're at it, it's a good time to like the video and sub to the channel for more information like this you can't afford to miss. Now I want to make something absolutely clear before somebody comes after me. I'm not saying that you should date a woman you like just because she's ugly. I'm almost making the opposite argument. You shouldn't date a woman entirely based off her poor looks in hopes that she is better for you overall than a girl that has known herself as attractive her entire life. The difference here is intention and expectation. You intend the wrong thing and expect the wrong thing to come out of it. That's just a recipe for failed relationships. Think back to the school days and remember which girls were the snotty and snobby ones, and which ones were the ones with the biggest attitudes and egos. You will realize exactly what I'm saying. They all were, and their looks hardly had much to do with it. In fact, ugly girls have even bigger attitudes trying to overcompensate for their looks. I say this to men all the time. You cannot be living in a fairy tale your entire life. I actually actively encourage men today to see which women fit them in their life and values them perfectly. But I discourage you to seek out women that you have a hunch might be more loyal or caring simply because you think they lack in the looks department. All that is long gone, and Instagram has completely changed the game. I remember my university days. I was going through a rough, dry spell. I had nothing. No companionship, no intimacy. I thought to myself, perhaps if I give that backbencher girl a chance and approach her, maybe she'll be delighted at the prospect of a relationship with me. But I was in for a massive surprise. When I finally made a move on her, I was met with a weird look. A look that said, "Why do you think you're worth me?" And she turned away without replying. I was taken aback and didn't know how to respond, so I just walked away awkwardly. But then, I was sent screenshots of a girl's conversation a few days later, where that girl talked to her girlfriends about that time I approached her. And all her friends were laughing and making jokes on my appearance. They said I was deluded to think I had a chance with her, and were propping up that below-average girl as if she was a goddess fallen from the sky. That was a revelation to me, because I had never seen boys prop up each other like this, but now it all makes sense to me. I don't mean to generalize, but as they say, if you can't speak in generalities, you can't speak at all. All the ugly women I've seen in my life have had a terribly misplaced self-esteem in their lives. Because usually for a girl, her looks are the foremost thing on which she bases her self-esteem. But then, what if a girl doesn't have enough looks to warrant that? Well, she searches for other sources of validation and self-esteem, and part of that is her peer group. But another part of that reservoir of self-esteem is this: her ability to reject you even though you are more attractive than her. I read this mind-blowing study a while back. It was based on a social experiment, and it truly put everything into perspective for me in a way nothing else could. Speed dating events were arranged, and a sample of test women were set up with very attractive men, who the girls seemed to be very much into. Afterwards, all the attractive guys who were actually setups were asked to reject the girl. This broke her heart understandably, but even more so, it lowered her value in the sexual hierarchy of attractiveness. She was also furious and frustrated. Later, in the speed dating event, guys who were average-looking by all social and conventional standards were asked to go on a date with the same girls after they had been rejected. The results found out that the girls overwhelmingly rejected the average-looking guys, or guys that were more her looks match. The reason for this is that women were looking to re-establish their standing in the social hierarchy and trying to feel good by rejecting a guy of their own standard. This shows to me the veracity of the idea that men are deluded if they think that they can simply snag a girl with not enough looks, assuming she has a lack of self-esteem which she will try to build up after being with you and caring for you. I've also found out from personal experience, as well as the hundreds of emails I get, that if men do in fact end up in a relationship with these women thinking they will have other qualities, their life becomes a living nightmare, because the self-esteem of these women then gets tied to keeping you, retaining the security of your resources, and having your long-term commitment. I will talk about this in a future video, but I believe women try to drag men down and make them miserable, so they don't go around cheating or having multiple women. It also makes perfect evolutionary sense. So if you think your marriage or commitment is going to make anything better, you're in for a hell of a ride, and it's not going to end well. These are the things I want you to understand well, because ignorance in the modern times can lead you down a dark path where you don't even realize it and several years are wasted. So pay heed to the message I drop here. It is all based on my vast knowledge and experience, and will put you ahead of the competition by a long shot. So like the video and hit the subscribe button for more. You cannot miss the videos in the pipeline that touch on more sensitive yet important subjects for men. Until next time.